teammates, as far as they're concerned, of course they're all Team Ohtani here. I spoke to two in particular, Matt Duffy and Mike Trout. Matt Duffy spoke with us after Ohtani's outing against the Houston Astros on Saturday, where he went 8 innings, only allowed 1 run. It was truly an epic performance on the mound. So Matt spoke with us after that game, but I spoke with Mike Trout earlier today and had him give me his case for Shohei for AL MVP. Let's take a listen to both of those guys right now.
Coming to the field every day, watching him, do his thing, 30-plus homers, and just dominant every time he goes out in the field. It's going to be a crazy race down the stretch because you see Judge chasing, I think 61 needs for the record. But like I said, just coming to the ballpark, last few years, and obviously this year, it's to see what Shohei's doing, to be qualified in starting pitching, statistics, and obviously offensively, it's pretty impressive. So, he's a joy to watch, and obviously, no one compares to him. So,
but what he does every day on the mound, we talked about it, it's crazy. I mean, it gets boring. People are talking about Judge for MVP, and I'm just like, he's got to break Maris's record to even be in the conversation for me. I mean, some people might think that's ridiculous in New York, I'm sure, but the guy does it on both sides of the ball. I mean, just because it's boring to you doesn't mean it's exceptional, and he does it every day. He posts every day, doesn't take days off. I mean, it's insane. It really is no words for it, and there's a reason why nobody's done it since Babe Ruth, I guess.
Quite the endorsement there from his teammates. And Phil Nevin, if you guys remember his comments the other day talking about the value that Shohei brings, he was saying until somebody can do what he does on the mound and offensively, as far as value in this game and this league goes, I think it's Shohei. Guys, sending it back upstairs to continue the conversation.
Thank you so much, Carla, and I truly appreciate it. And yeah, it's a fun conversation to have as we continue it. And I think, guys, we've all kicked around the idea, they have the Shohei rule this year. Do you have an MVP and a most outstanding player, GA? Do you have to start moving that direction, considering we're seeing something that only Shohei Ohtani has done last year?
That's always been my argument even before this. We would talk, reporters would ask us what our opinions are, and I'd always say you can't really value an MVP to a team. I mean, Alex got it on a last place team. So for me, I would just say, hey, let's just put the best player of the year. Call it what you want to call it, but the guy who goes out there and just has the most production out of the players.
So, and I agree 100%. I mean, if you can give it to a last place player, a last place team, then that's fine. Trent Rush probably had the best thing. Trent Rush says our post-game radio. He said, if you did a trade straight up with the Yankees, who wins that trade right now? I mean, the Yankees are better. They're got Garrett Cole and another number 1 in Ohtani and a guy that's going to hit 35 homers. Okay, we get another hitter, but we lose that number 1 starting pitcher. To me, right there, that tells you everything. If you were to trade, who is the player you want to trade? You're not talking about a pitcher that just goes out there and puts up average numbers and average hitting numbers. He puts elite numbers. He's in the top elite on both sides. I mean, home runs. I mean, 30 home runs. I mean, Judge's 54 is huge right there, but Shohei Ohtani has 30, and that's pitching every 6th day. I mean, that's amazing right there. Shohei's in the top 5 on the pitching side of the categories and the hitting side of the categories.
Aaron Judge is trying to do something that hasn't been done since 1961, and that's 61 or over 61 homers in the American League. Shohei Ohtani last year did something that hasn't been done in 100 years, when you look at it that way as well. Also, when you look at these two guys going head-to-head, I love what you're saying about kind of placing one guy, for another guy. And I think that says a lot about sometimes the only way you can do it is how to compare these two guys.
Yeah, I believe if it was a straight-up trade, I don't think you're getting enough in just a Judge for a Shohei Ohtani. I think you got to throw something else in there. I think that's just the value right there. I think Shohei gives you value on 2 sides of the ball. Judge gives you on 1. I think Judge is a great player. I'm not diminishing that, but hey, you need another pitcher or something added to that in return, because Shohei gives you 2 elite players in that trade.
Gee, one thing before we go to break is the shine. Has the shine and this whole thing about Shohei worn off? I mean, he's doing only what he did last year. He's got to outdo himself, but we've seen this before. Not as great, but we saw it last year.
I just think it's a little unfair because his bar has been set so high.
Right.
I mean, his bar is really high, and he's having a phenomenal season again. So I just think that, we're witnessing greatness right now. And to continue to talk about it and watch it has been fun.